Elias and I had been resentful lovers for 5 years. He married me because he couldn't disobey the elders. Then he spent the marriage retaliating, racing cars, chasing women, making tabloid headlines, turning me into a running joke in the industry. At the family banquet, he brought along another sweet, pretty starlet. Same as always, waiting to see me lose it, break down, scream. But I didn't. This time, I didn't go crazy. I even complimented his taste. Chapter 1. When I entered the Lin family estate, Elias Lin was standing with his back to the door, posture rigid. In front of him, old Master Lin slammed his cane on the floor with force. "You bastard! A family dinner, and you bring that thing from outside. Have you even thought about Evelyn?" Naomi, the one referred to as that thing, had red-rimmed eyes. "Elias, maybe I should go." Elias pulled her into his arms, his profile cool and indifferent. "Why leave? We're going to be family soon." Old Master Lin was even more furious, raising his cane as if to strike. I forced a smile and stepped forward, gently grabbing his arm. "Grandpa, calm down." Elias's expression froze for a second, his eyes scanning me for a long time, probably not used to my calm reaction. If it had been before, I would have gone full hysterical, screaming until Naomi was driven out. In the end, his gaze settled on my smile. He paused for a second, lips tightening. The Lin family's wife, truly gracious, dripping with sarcasm, but I didn't bother interpreting what he meant. I pretended not to hear and led Grandpa to the dining room. At the table, Elias and Naomi sat intimately close, completely ignoring Grandpa's sullen face. Whatever dish I reached for, Elias would get to it first, only to place it on Naomi's plate. Clack! My chopsticks hit the table heavily. Elias acted like nothing happened, continuing on. Before Grandpa could blow up, I quickly stood. "Grandpa, I think Grandma just woke up. She's probably waiting in the backyard." After seeing Grandpa off, I returned to the table. The guests were still present. As the eldest grandson's wife, I couldn't lose my composure. Elias tilted his head slightly, shooting me a glance, fiddling with his lighter in silence. The tension around him eased a little. I said nothing either. Naomi batted her lashes at him, timidly asking, "Do you think she minds me being here?" "Don't worry about her," he replied without even looking up. I clenched my fists and glanced at Naomi. "She's prettier than the last one." Elias looked over my face and replied flatly, "Yeah, better looking than Evelyn." Naomi giggled, hiding her pride behind her hand. "Sis Evelyn is known as the great beauty of a city. I'm nowhere near that." Elias said nothing, just lit a cigarette. The smoke stung my nose. I took a bite of food to suppress the discomfort in my throat. At that moment, Naomi pouted and said playfully, "Oops, I left my bra at the hotel." Elias chuckled. "Silly girl." The food turned bitter in my throat. I suddenly felt nauseous and bolted to the bathroom. I stared blankly into the mirror. The reflection was once full of color, now pale and drained. No wonder I couldn't compare to fresh-faced starlets anymore. As I dazed out, my phone rang. It was my best friend, Selena, the most renowned surgeon in a city. "Evelyn, why didn't you tell me? If I hadn't seen your file during my shift today, what's the point of telling?" I cut her off. It would only add to the sorrow. There was a pause, then her voice trembled. "Did you tell him about your illness?" I nodded, forgetting she couldn't see it, then softly said, "He'd just think I'm pulling some manipulative stunt again." Selena cursed under her breath. "I heard he brought another woman to the family banquet. After all these years, he's still tormenting you? That thing from back then." She suddenly stopped, realizing she shouldn't bring it up. I sniffled. "Let it go, Selena." I hung up and stood in silence for a while, then turned on the tap, washed the blood I had thrown up down the drain, and walked out. At the end of the hallway, Elias was leaning against the wall. His perfect face was half hidden in shadow. I kept my head down as I passed, but he grabbed my wrist. "You're going back. The banquet's long over." I stopped but didn't look at him. "Thanks for helping." I had felt too sick earlier to notice the time. The guests must have been handled by Elias. I should thank him for that. Usually, that was my job. He looked slightly stunned. "You hid for so long. Am I that disgusting?" I turned to him and saw his brows furrowed in irritation. I just didn't feel well. I tried to pull away, but he gripped tighter. His tone turned mocking, faintly angry, still pretending to be sick. I was speechless. I told him before I was ill, but he didn't believe me. What else could I say? So I joked. Actually, I'm pregnant. Surprise? Elias fell silent. After a long pause, his eyes turned cold. Is this funny to you? I remember, it's been a long time since we've had any marital duties, right? He suddenly leaned in, breath brushing my ear. Evelyn, no one's going to keep indulging you. He shoved me hard. I stumbled into the wall. By the time I regained balance, he was already walking away with Naomi, who had clearly been waiting at the end of the corridor. I stood frozen until the chauffeur came up to me. Madam, the car is ready. Are we heading to the cemetery now? Should we wait for the master? His voice hesitated. He'd obviously seen Elias leave with Naomi. I blinked back to focus. No need. Let's go. Chapter 2. I had just left the cemetery after visiting my parents. A news alert popped up on my phone. The Lin family heir starts a fight on set for his beauty Naomi. Before I could even finish reading it, Elias's mother sent me a message. Come to the hospital, now. I froze for a second, then put my phone away and got into the car without delay. On the way, Selena texted me. Your man's here at our hospital. Split his head open, 18 stitches. Who's he going full-on white knight for this time? I stared at her words, a little dazed. Elias rarely lost control. The last time he ended up bloody like that was before we even got married. Back when we graduated at 18, Selena had taken me to a bar. A drunk man cornered me while she stepped outside to take a call. I was alone, and almost got hurt. Then Elias appeared, dragging a bottle, and smashed it over the guy's head. His side profile was cold and sharp. You dare touch someone under my protection? The guy, drunk out of his mind, didn't recognize the Lin family heir and even tried to fight back. That night, Elias, hot-headed and fearless, nearly tore the whole place apart. Afterwards, he was severely punished by old Master Lin. According to family rules, I helped treat his wounds. The lash marks on his back were brutal. I cried my eyes out. Elias laughed. Stop crying. Just marry me already. I was so angry I jabbed the cotton swab into his wound. Ow, ow. My lady. I surrender. He winced and grimaced. His usual refined self nowhere to be seen. I went quiet. And so did he. After a long silence, he whispered, Evelyn, in this life, I'll only protect you. But that was a long time ago. Now, 28-year-old Elias had changed the people he protected again and again. One thing was for sure, Evelyn wasn't on that list anymore. At the hospital room door, Elias's mother was already there, face cold and stern. I approached and greeted her politely. Mom. She smiled and then slapped me. Hard. Is this how you take care of your husband? The force turned my face to the side. Her ring scratched my cheek. There better not be a next time. With that, she left with her bodyguards. Head held high. Blood beaded on my skin. I wiped it away and stepped into the room. Elias was holding up his phone, video chatting with Naomi. She was crying. Don't be so reckless again, okay? If something really happened to you, what would I do? You've said that enough times, Elias replied, his patience clearly wearing thin, though he was unusually tolerant. All right. Stop crying. I get it. I was wrong. I stopped in my tracks, accidentally bumped into a chair, making a noise. He glanced at me lazily. Hanging up, he leaned back against the headboard, voice drawling. You sure took your time. If I'd actually died, all you'd be good for is collecting the body. I said nothing, just stood there, motionless. The teasing in his expression faded a little. He seemed uncomfortable with my silence and simply turned his head to stare out the window. It was true, ever since that incident. These past few years had been full of screaming, crying, and endless fighting between us. Moments of peace were rare. I looked at him, even with a bandage wrapped around his forehead. That flawless face was still painfully attractive. I stepped forward, reaching out to touch his forehead. He slapped my hand away instantly. Elias frowned and looked up. His eyes caught the cut on my cheek. And he paused. He reached out, touched the wound, and asked, "She did this?" He meant his mother. Of course. My chest tightened. I forced a bitter smile. "Yeah, you gonna help me get even?" His gaze locked with mine, surprised by the tears welling up in my eyes. Back then, even a harsh word from his mother would trigger Elias's fury, let alone if she dared lay a hand on me. He would have torn the Lin family mansion down, brick by brick. But now? He lowered his head and let out a dry laugh. "She went too easy on you. That kind of pain isn't nearly enough to match what I feel." His voice was laced with venom. I fell silent again. After a long pause, I finally spoke. "Why don't we get a divorce?" Chapter 3. After Elias was discharged from the hospital, he never came home again, not even to the Lin family estate. "Evelyn, how long are you and Elias going to keep this up?" "Fix it immediately," his mother called, clearly issuing a warning. I was looking at the news when she did. The top story was still looping a video of Elias and Naomi, with the backing of the Lin family heir. Naomi's rise to stardom had been meteoric. Just a few days ago, she won the Best Actress award. The news reported that Elias had flown to Switzerland with Naomi to watch the snowfall. The internet was ablaze. The Lin heir spoils Naomi to no end. Rumor has it the Lin couple have long been on bad terms. Why haven't they divorced yet? Exactly. She's been clinging to Elias because of a childhood engagement. Please let him go already. Let him marry our Naomi. All that way, just to make a beauty smile. Turns out, he had already left the country. And now, his mother was asking me to handle the situation. I lowered my eyes. What was I supposed to do? Chase him down overseas? Besides, that day at the hospital, he hadn't taken my suggestion seriously either. When I said it, Elias froze. He stared at me for a long time. "Evelyn, no one is colder than you." Maybe out of anger, the gauze on his forehead burst open, soaked with blood. I opened my mouth to say something, but felt that saying more would only make things worse. I thought suggesting divorce would have set him free. "I'll call the doctor." He said nothing. The room fell dead silent. Then Naomi called, saying she was in danger. Elias got up and rushed out the door without hesitation. Thinking back on that, I stepped onto the balcony, a bitter taste in my mouth. I can't do this anymore. After all these years, I was tired too. I didn't want to play this game any longer. Besides, when was the last time Elias even listened to me? I couldn't control him anymore. "You can't do it?" His mother sounded stunned, almost disbelieving. After a long pause, her voice came again, trembling slightly. "I already lost Luna, and now you want me to lose my only son too?" I said nothing. She became emotional. "Evelyn, hasn't our family treated you well enough? It's been 5 years of marriage. Have you ever really cared about Elias? If you had, would he have spent all his time out partying with other women? You're really heartless." I bit my lip and let her curse me out, lowered my eyes and leaned against the railing, staring at the ground. 34 floors up, it was high. The people below looked tiny, just like my world. Ever since that day, trapped in one corner, no way out, no way to run. Chapter 4. Luna was Elias's younger sister, the Lin family's precious jewel. She was 6 years younger than me. After my parents passed, I moved into the Lin estate, so I had practically watched Luna grow up. She was raised with love, bright, lively, and pure. Every nice word in the book could be used to describe her. Back then, Elias wasn't so composed. He loved to argue with me. Luna would squeeze between us and gang up on him. Then she'd tease him with a smirk. "Brother, if not for the engagement, someone as mean as you would never get Evelyn. Who likes her anyway? Luna, you're so annoying." That one line made both 18-year-old Elias and me blush furiously. All those happy memories ended during one trip. A group of young people gathered together, clinking glasses. Loud music. It should have been carefree. But I had bad cramps from my period, so I didn't join. Half asleep in bed, Luna barged into my room. Seeing me awake, she giggled. "Evelyn." My brother and the others went to light fireworks by the river. I snuck away to rest a bit. Finally, a breather. She climbed into bed and lay beside me, chattered on and on. I drifted off again as the meds kicked in. When I woke up from the choking smoke, the fire was already all around us. I scrambled to wake Luna, tried several times, but we couldn't get out. Luna was frail and almost unconscious. In desperation, I heard Elias's voice. I summoned all my strength and shouted his name. He must have heard me. His footsteps pounded closer. I dragged Luna with me, shielding her from the flames, crawling toward the door. Luna, wake up. Your brother's here. The fire surged. A beam fell. We barely dodged it. I threw myself over Luna to protect her. Then, as if she sensed it, Luna suddenly woke up and shoved me away with all her strength. In that moment, the flames split us. I was near the door. She was trapped in the inferno, eyes red. I charged forward. Don't come closer. A beam had fallen on her. She stared at me, fiercely. Any time I moved, she would try to crawl deeper into the fire. Evelyn, you have to live. Flames licked at her pant legs. She had been pampered her whole life. She trembled with fear but bit her lip hard. My brother, he's actually very fragile inside. If you're gone, he'll be devastated. He'll be proud of me for saving you. She started crying, terrified. Sister-in-law, such a shame. I won't get to see you marry him. Afraid I'd die with her. She suddenly crawled away, further from me. I could no longer reach her hand. Tell Mom and Dad, and Grandpa and Grandma, don't cry. The fire engulfed her. I was shattered. My blood surged, and everything went black. When I woke up, Elias was standing by the window. His face was still covered in soot. His arm was burned. He had risked his life to save me. He stood sideways, eyes red to the point of bleeding, choking back his grief. Why didn't you protect her? She was only 16. Tears slipped from the corners of his eyes. I wanted to tell him, she saved me, but I was the one who lived. So the words felt empty. I closed my eyes, exhausted, pale as a sheet. I'm sorry. Elias was silent, a storm of emotions in his eyes. At last, he said, you're right. It's not your fault. And then he left. From then on, it was Selena and the Lynn family maid who looked after me until I was discharged. Later, we got married. That night, he didn't come into the room, just stood at the door. You've been waiting for this moment for a long time, haven't you? He smoked the whole night on the balcony. I didn't sleep either. From that night on, he started racing cars, chasing women, appearing on every tabloid headline. Luna, do you see? Your brother, in the end, still blames me. Chapter 5. I returned to the Lynn family estate, went to the backyard to visit Madame Lynn, Elias's grandmother. Under the warm sunlight, the old lady sat in her wheelchair, a hat shading her face, looking completely at ease. When she saw me, her eyes squinted into a smile. Luna, is that you? Just like always, I gave her a big, cheerful smile. Yes, Grandma, I'm here. After Luna's accident, Grandma Lynn took a huge blow. Now her memory was failing. Sometimes when she saw me, she'd mistake me for Luna. I sat with her and chatted for a while. She looked tired, so I called the housekeeper to take her back to rest. Unexpectedly, she suddenly grabbed my hand. Evelyn, why haven't you and Elias had a child yet? She was lucid again and had recognized me. She smiled warmly. Your grandpa and I, we'd love to see our great-grandchild. I froze for a moment, just as I was about to reply. Elias's careless voice sounded from above me. Grandma, I'll go back with Evelyn tonight and make you that great-grandchild. He rested a hand on my shoulder. I stiffened, feeling uncomfortable, my cheeks warming. Since when had he returned from abroad? Grandma laughed even harder. You rascal, don't scare our sweet Evelyn like that. What's so improper about continuing the Lynn family line? Isn't that exactly what you want, Grandma? Elias laughed along, and for a moment, he was like his old self, uninhibited and unruly. Grandma chuckled and suddenly reached out, pulling our hands together and overlapping them. You two clearly like each other. She paused, then added, just too damn stubborn. Her words stunned us both. We exchanged a glance, then looked away immediately. I noticed the tips of his ears had turned red. Grandma didn't bother with us anymore. She shook her head and let the housekeeper wheel her away. The vast courtyard fell into silence. Just the two of us left. A breeze swept through, scattering apricot blossoms. I could feel his gaze above me, persistent, heavy. His hand still rested on my shoulder. After a moment, I tried to move. He gripped tighter, fingers brushing my skin. I felt the distinct ridges of his bones, and he seemed startled. "Why have you gotten so thin?" I pulled away anyway and said casually, "It's cold lately. I haven't been eating much." Elias raised a brow, clearly skeptical, and his words came out sharp. "You're not Naomi. Only actresses have to keep their weight in check. Who are you staying slim for?" I pursed my lips, not wanting to respond, and shot back. "Are you that bored?" He narrowed his eyes and held my gaze. After a while, he smirked. "Yeah, bored out of my mind." I looked up, a little surprised. He'd been smiling a lot today. Noticing my expression, he gave a soft chuckle. Then, without warning, he dragged me out of the courtyard, stuffed me into the car, and buckled my seatbelt. I hadn't even settled into the seat yet. The car shot forward. When we arrived, I looked around. It was that old restaurant, the one we used to go to often. Inside the familiar private room, the food was already laid out. He started piling food onto my plate until it was a small mountain, then slid it toward me. Noticing my confusion, he said, "Eat more, gain some weight." He curled his lips. "Otherwise, how will that little body of yours have the strength to make a baby?" As expected, not a single sentence from his mouth was decent. I gave him an annoyed glare, but still picked up my chopsticks and began eating. It had been a long time since we had this kind of calm moment. I didn't want to ruin it, but unfortunately, my appetite wasn't good. After just a few bites, I set my chopsticks down. Elias frowned. "That's it? I can't eat anymore." I shook my head. He scrutinized me. "Your complexion doesn't look great." Then he leaned in closer. I turned away. "I told you already." Before I could finish, he laughed. "You're not seriously going to tell me you're sick again, are you?" He suddenly leaned back, stretching his long legs across a stool. "You say it so well, I almost believed you this time." That casual, dismissive tone stabbed at me. "Yeah, just messing with you." My eyes welled up, but Elias said nothing. For once, he didn't snap back. In the silence, Luna's voice echoed in my mind. "If my brother didn't have you, he'd be so sad." I glanced at the man across from me. His expression was unreadable, shrouded in shadow. After a moment's hesitation, I decided, maybe we should talk, really talk. Actually, a phone rang, cutting me off. Elias glanced at me, then answered it. "What is it?" "Elias, weren't you going to have dinner with me? I'm already at the restaurant. Why aren't you here yet?" Naomi's whiny voice reached my ears. I gave a bitter smile. Of course, this dinner was stolen time. Elias tapped the back of his phone with his fingers, lost in thought. My stomach churned. I reflexively pressed a hand to it. Why the rush? Just wait. Even when doting on Naomi, he still sounded detached and cavalier. Naomi clearly didn't expect that reply. On the other end, she started to throw a fit. Elias wasn't irritated. After a long pause, he muttered, "Such a firecracker." I looked up and caught his startled expression before quickly looking away. My cheeks flushed in embarrassment. For a second, I had thought he was mocking me. Back then, I was spoiled, always throwing tantrums. Elias used to tease me, calling me a walking time bomb, which only made me angrier. I'd ignore him for days. In the end, he always came crawling back. I almost laughed at the memory, hoping to defuse the awkwardness. But suddenly, a wave of nausea surged up my throat. I bolted up and rushed to the restroom. Threw up everything, the food, the meat, until the world spun. When I came out, Elias stood there, face like thunder. One glance, and I knew he had misunderstood me again. But this time, before I could explain, he turned angrily and slammed the door behind him, leaving me alone in this out-of-the-way restaurant. I stepped outside. It was pouring. I blinked away the sting in my eyes. Standing under the awning, feeling utterly lost. Luckily, we used to come here often, and the owner still remembered me. He helped call a car and got me back to the city. Chapter 6. The old doctor treating me called again to try and persuade me. Evelyn, why didn't you follow through with the treatment I prescribed last time? And the time before that? You didn't show up either. My God, you've missed so many sessions. Even if the chances of survival are slim, treatment can still buy you more time, can't it? He let out a long sigh. Do you really not want to live anymore? I held my phone, unsure how to respond, and finally muttered, "Next time, I'll go." Another sigh came through the line. "All right, just remember to come, okay?" After hanging up, I went to the balcony to water the plants. When I finished, I pulled up the cemetery's number, confirmed it, my burial plot had been reserved. That night, I slept well. The next day, I went to the hospital. The old doctor had been urging me for a while now. He was an old friend of my parents. I couldn't let him down. When he saw me, he was overjoyed. I knew it. No one really wants to die, right? He stayed with me the whole time during the treatment. Before I left, I even took the initiative to ask for more medication. He agreed right away, clearly touched by what he saw as a renewed will to live. "Goodbye, Uncle." He seemed taken aback. I hadn't called him that in a long time. His voice caught in his throat. "Hey, kid, ever since your parents' accident." He paused. "Never mind that. Don't worry. I'll do everything I can to help you." With a bag full of medication, I waved goodbye with a smile and thanked him. When I asked Selena to meet me, she looked surprised. "You actually wanted to go out?" "I've told you. It's good for your health to get some fresh air." She was puzzled by my sudden change of heart. But when I said I wanted to go to the biggest amusement park in a city, her expression changed. Then she forced a smile. "All right, whatever you want to do. I'm with you." Truthfully, I didn't have any strong desires left. That amusement park was a place my parents used to take me when I was little. After they passed, I never went back. No wonder Selena had reacted that way. To her, my request screamed of someone ready to give up. "Thank you, Selena." She managed to collect herself and came along. I rode the carousel I used to love as a kid, surrounded by children giving me strange looks. I didn't mind. I even got excited enough to try something wilder, the pirate ship. When I got off, my face was pale. Selena looked just as frightened. "Evelyn, you really can't do rides like that anymore." I was a bit disappointed, but nodded. Deep down, I knew I'd pushed my body too far. "I'll just sit for a bit." I pointed to a bench nearby and was about to walk over. Then a commotion broke out behind us. Screams, shouting. Selena pulled me aside, frowning. "Who's here? Some celebrity? What a mess." I looked up and froze. It was Elias. He and Naomi were surrounded by reporters and fans, even with bodyguards clearing the way. It was hard to move. They were heading straight toward our direction. Elias had his head slightly down, tapping away at his phone, completely ignoring the chaos around him. A heavy, irritable aura radiated from him. I stared at him blankly for a while. Just as I turned my eyes away, he suddenly looked up. His gaze cut through the crowd and landed straight on me. He paused, then seemed to take a step forward, as if to approach. Because of his movement, others began to look our way. Someone in the crowd shouted, "Isn't that the Lin family's wife?" "What wife? She's just a pitiful woman no one loves. Naomi is the real Lin family wife." "Exactly. Look how pathetic she is." Elias came here with Naomi for filming and wouldn't even accompany her. "Please, just let Elias go. Divorce already. Free him and yourself." Suddenly, a crumpled tissue hit me. Then came several wrappers and bits of trash thrown my way. I was stunned. Elias froze too. His gaze turned instantly violent. "Who did that?" The bodyguards immediately turned to search the crowd. But there were too many people. No one could be pinpointed. A hot stream surged from my nose. I reached up to stop it, but the blood slipped through my fingers, kept flowing. When Elias saw that, his expression changed. Panic flickered across his face, and he moved to come toward me, but Naomi grabbed his arm. "Elias." I think I twisted my ankle. "It really hurts." In that instant he turned back. I grabbed Selena's hand and ran. Chapter 7. On a business trip. I'll pick you up tomorrow for dinner at the estate. When I received Elias's message, I was a bit shocked. It almost felt like he was checking in with me. I stared at the message once, twice, over and over again. The thoughts spiraled in my head. But in the end, I didn't reply. What was I supposed to say? Ask him why he felt the need to tell me? What would be the point? I put my backpack down and reached for the old photo on the TV cabinet. In it, I was 8, standing between a young mom and dad. The glass was layered with dust, making it look grimy and dull. I looked around the living room. It, too, was coated in gray. It made sense. I hadn't been back in a long time. This place held my entire childhood, and every memory I had of my parents. I hugged the photo frame, sinking down to the corner of the wall. For a moment, it felt like I saw Luna, wearing her school uniform, her ponytail bouncing. 16-year-old Luna had been so full of life, but now, she was puffing her cheeks, looking upset. Sister-in-law, how could you leave my brother like that? Are you even listening to me? I was afraid to startle her, so I whispered, I'm listening. Then go find my brother already. He's really sad without you. Luna pleaded, almost shaking with urgency. I stared, then slowly pulled out my phone, opened my chat with Elias. Luna, what should I say to him? She clutched her head, frustrated. Anything, sister-in-law. You could say anything, and he'd be happy. Really? I hesitated, fingers hovering to type. Then a news alert popped up on the screen. Lin family heir Elias visits temple with starlet Naomi, wedding bells soon? I swiped it open. There he was, that handsome profile I knew too well. The same man who had just told me he was on a business trip. Luna, your brother doesn't seem to need me anymore. My head tilted back, eyes dazed. Luna leaned in to look. Her expression froze. My brother, he wouldn't. Tears welled up in her eyes. Sister-in-law, he really does love you. His study's full of your paintings and crafts. He always said, since he was little, that he'd only marry you. Don't you remember? I opened my mouth, and after a while, whispered, I remember. Luna wiped her face, finally smiling through her tears. See? Then go find him. You two are supposed to grow old together. But, I turned to the empty room, unsure. I think I want to go home. My mom and dad, they were waiting for me ahead. I'm leaving now. Luna. My mother was holding out her arms. My father stood beside her, smiling gently. I took a step. It had been so long since I'd last been held by them. Their figures began to fade. I was scared they'd disappear again, so I buried my head and ran, faster and faster. Behind me, Luna was crying, sobbing so hard her voice broke. But I didn't stop. Don't cry, Luna. I'm really going home. Chapter 8. Elias's perspective. At the banquet, people kept raising their glasses to me. It was getting on my nerves. So I stepped out onto the terrace. I couldn't help but wonder what Evelyn was doing. This morning, without really thinking, I had sent her a message, but she never replied. Even during business meetings, I kept checking my phone, thinking about it now. I pulled out my phone and checked again. Yeah, still no reply. She must really be mad this time. Over the years, since Luna's death, we've both changed so much. She's become quieter, and I've been carrying guilt I don't know how to let go of. I have no idea how to face her anymore. Before I left yesterday, I went to visit Grandma, usually a bit muddled. The old lady was surprisingly lucid. She held my hand, spoke slowly and clearly. You and Evelyn, stop hurting each other. Will you? Grandma really hurts for you too. You were so good together once. How did it get to this point? If Luna saw it, she wouldn't be at peace. You know she adored Evelyn as her sister-in-law. Her words stunned me. They say the bystander sees things more clearly. Turns out, all these years, we've been mutually tormenting each other. The whole flight, my mind was a mess. That's why I ended up messaging her. When I landed and saw the city from above, I suddenly remembered. Evelyn had always talked about wanting to visit the famous temple here, to pray for peace and blessings. So I went. My assistant looked shocked. Mr. Lin, you've got a meeting with the South District project lead. Did you forget? Push it back 3 hours. He had no choice. Yes, Mr. Lin. I don't know why. I just had this sudden urge to go get her that amulet. Something to bring back, to make her smile. Back in the private room, I sat quietly in the corner, wondering if I should call her. Someone suddenly sat down beside me. I turned. It was Naomi. She leaned in close, eyes red. Elias, why have you been ignoring me? I came all this way to see you. I pushed her hand away. My voice was cold. Remember your place. She immediately started crying. Elias, do you really feel nothing for me? I never did. Naomi was the daughter of a longtime business associate. That's all she ever was. When Evelyn kept brushing off everything I did to provoke her, I acted like a child. So I asked Naomi to play a role. Pretend. Get under her skin. It worked. But after what Grandma said, I'd made up my mind to stop being so petty. Tonight, Naomi had come along with her father. I already warned you, stop following me. I have a wife. She tried to say something else, but I waved at my assistant to remove her. I got up and headed for my room, ready to contact Evelyn. Yeah, I'll listen to Grandma for once. I'll be the one to reach out, make things right. Even though she talked about divorce the other day, it pissed me off. But I said some harsh things too, walked away and left her behind. So we're even. I pulled out my phone and brought up her number. Suddenly, my phone rang. Chapter 9. Elias's Perspective. I answered the call, surprised that this person would contact me. As Evelyn's best friend, she had always treated me with open hostility over the years. What is it? There was no response from the other end. I asked again. Selena, say something. Still silence. A wave of irritation rose in my chest. Maybe she wanted to curse me out, but didn't know where to start. She'd already used up every insult she could throw at me. Every time I upset Evelyn, Selena would call just to yell at me. This time, I figured it was the same. I was about to hang up, but suddenly, she spoke. Her voice was low, heavy. Evelyn's dead. I froze for a moment, then laughed. Is she throwing a tantrum again? That couldn't be real. It had to be a joke. Just days ago, she was still fine, still alive, still. What tantrum? Elias, are you even listening? Evelyn is dead. She's dead. She died from her illness, and it was horrible. She suffered so much. The words smashed into my eardrums like thunder. My head rang, my knees buckled. I stumbled back, heart racing uncontrollably. That can't be. She was full of energy. She argued with me. We just had dinner together. I didn't even know what I was saying anymore. It was all a mess. Selena's angry voice cut through my daze. You were too busy with that fake actress to know anything. Evelyn was seriously ill. Every night, she couldn't sleep from the pain. She was dying. Elias, you didn't know a damn thing. She told you, and you didn't believe her. I could barely stay standing. My hands shook uncontrollably. I had to press down, hard, just to keep from collapsing. She was right. I never believed her. I thought she was just throwing one of her usual fits, trying to get my attention. She used to be spoiled. Every time we fought, she'd pretend to be sick, and I always fell for it. But this time, I didn't want to give in. I wanted her to be the one to apologize, to coax me for once. When did it happen? This morning, Selena choked, then burst into louder sobs. She died alone at the Lynn estate. No one was with her. Thud. My knees hit the floor. The assistant, the bodyguards, people around me rushed over, panicked. Don't touch me. I snapped, pushing them away. I forced myself up, though my whole body trembled. I fell over and over again, but finally, dragging every ounce of strength, I stood. I bolted from the banquet hall, got in the car, and rushed to the airport. Only one thought filled my mind. I had to go back. Bring Evelyn back home. Chapter 10. Elias's Perspective. By the time I arrived, Evelyn was already lying in the hospital. Her eyes were closed, lashes long and curled as if she was just asleep. I stood there, staring. I felt like I'd forgotten how to breathe. Why else would my chest hurt so much? Why did it feel like this? I walked forward and gently held her in my arms. She was especially quiet this time. If it were before, she would have already pushed me away, then looked at me with those silent, unreadable eyes, until I gave up. I used to hate her for that, but now, I wished she'd do it again. Hit me, yell at me, anything but lying here, motionless. Tears suddenly spilled from my eyes, falling onto her cold skin. I held her tighter, almost like I wanted to press her into my chest. This was what I'd always wanted to do when I was upset. Just hold her. That alone would calm me. But now, it didn't work anymore. The tighter I held her, the more it hurt. Finally, I couldn't hold it in. I cried, "Evelyn, I'm home. Why didn't you wait for me?" I had figured it out. Luna's death was never your fault. Back then, all I could think about was you. I just wanted to save you. It was my mistake. I was the one who forgot about my little sister. And yet, I pushed the blame onto you, made you carry it. I'm disgusting, Elias. You're not even human. You deserve every bit of this. I didn't let anyone else handle Evelyn's funeral. I did it myself. During the process, I discovered she had already reserved her cemetery plot. When I found out, all the color drained from my face. So she had planned this all along, and I was too caught up in my own world, too blind to notice, too numb to feel. I had nowhere to vent, so I punched the glass window hard. Blood spilled everywhere. The housekeeper screamed, rushing to call a doctor. I refused. This doesn't even come close to the pain she endured. In the end, I buried her where she had chosen, but I arranged with the cemetery to shift the location slightly, so that her gravestone would sit beside her parents'. I figured this was the last thing I could do for her. She would have wanted it that way. I stayed there all day. Naomi showed up, saying she wanted to talk. What was there to talk about? From the beginning, there had never been anything between us that betrayed Evelyn. I had the butler drive her away. But the next day, the entire internet was buzzing about Naomi and me, saying we were about to get married. The secretary forwarded the headlines just as I was scrolling through the comments. Rumor has it Elias's wife just passed away. He'll likely marry rising star Naomi soon. A happy ending for true love. People said his ex-wife was just occupying space. Look at how Elias adores Naomi. He's even that stoic guy who took her to an amusement park. Cute, right? My eyes froze on the screen. I remembered that day, at the amusement park. I'd gotten a call from the butler. He told me Evelyn had gone to that amusement park, the one both our families used to visit when we were kids. I felt a pang of something, I don't know what. Cancelled a deal worth hundreds of millions, and drove over. Just wanted to see why she had gone. At the entrance, I ran into Naomi. She said she was delivering urgent documents on her father's behalf. I took them, tried to send her away, but a horde of media showed up. Everything spiraled out of control. And then, Evelyn walked right into that scene. I panicked, worried she'd think I was secretly following her. So I played it cool, pretended not to care. If only I had known how much she was suffering that day, I never would have walked away. Snapping back to the present, I was overwhelmed with rage. It didn't take long to uncover the truth. It was Naomi's doing. Within days, she was blacklisted. No one shames my wife. Chapter 11. I returned to the old estate. Grandma was in the courtyard, just like always, basking in the sun. The moment she saw me, her eyes crinkled into a smile. "So, did you listen to your old grandma and bring Evelyn back home?" My fingers trembled slightly. I didn't answer. She thought I was just being shy and laughed even harder. "Oh my, cat got your tongue? You used to love teasing back. What's the matter now?" Grandpa had heard the voices and slowly walked over from a short distance. He shook his head. "Old woman, Evelyn. My chest tightened. I quickly cut him off. "Grandma, your advice worked wonderfully." Her confusion faded. She patted my hand and let out a series of relieved sighs. Good. You young lovebirds making up. That's all I ever wanted. Elias. Don't mess things up again. Treat Evelyn well. Understand? She gently scolded me. I swallowed the ache in my chest and nodded. She wasn't doing well physically. We'd hidden Evelyn's funeral from her, afraid it would be too much of a shock. So to her, her sweet Evelyn was still alive and well. I gave Grandpa a look. He understood and sighed, then gently coaxed Grandma back inside to rest. Once they were gone, I turned and walked to the adjacent courtyard. That was where my mother lived. The two villas were connected. I found her in a small room, arranging Buddha figurines. She glanced at me briefly, then went back to cleaning them. Neither of us spoke. A long silence passed before she finally asked, without looking at me, "Finished talking to your grandmother?" I sent her to rest, and everything regarding Evelyn has been handled? I looked toward the windowsill, where a healthy pothose vine grew. I gave a quiet hum of acknowledgement. Something swirled in my chest. Mother didn't say more. Instead, she knelt before the Buddha statue, her face calm and devout. I stood there, dazed. It felt like something had hollowed out inside me. She was deeply religious, devoted to Buddhism. Every week, she spent hours kneeling in prayer, always for the family's peace and safety. For years, Evelyn had accompanied her, never missed a session. She always said her one wish was for the entire Lin family to live peacefully and stay healthy. I stood there for a while longer, then quietly stepped forward and knelt down beside her. She looked at me, then said nothing. I bowed low and didn't rise for a long time. My tears fell quietly, soaking into the mat, and disappeared. Chapter 12. My friends invited me on the annual cruise vacation. I said yes. I'd gone every year. Evelyn had always loved the sea. This trip was the only time she'd agree to come as my date. The day we boarded the ship, the skies were dim and overcast. Felt like even the heavens were mourning with me, mourning that someone was missing beside me. At the evening banquet, I turned down every dance invitation, wandered alone to the railings of the deck. The salty sea breeze brushed past my ears, soft, gentle. It reminded me of Evelyn's voice, that delicate accent from her northern hometown, always tugging at the heart. A memory surfaced. That day, Grandma urged us to have children. The way Evelyn blushed, so shy and flustered. She was truly adorable. "What are you thinking about?" Evelyn leaned over the railing beside me, tilting her head. Without thinking, I answered, "You." After I said it, I got nervous, afraid she'd hate how blunt I was. I didn't dare look at her, but she smiled. The wind blew her hair wildly across her face, but nothing could hide those bright, shining eyes. I stared, transfixed. Then suddenly, her figure grew faint. She stepped over the edge and faded into the sea. Panic surged in me. "Evelyn, take me with you." I reached out to grab her, but my body lost control. I fell over the rail and plunged into the ocean. As I sank, I felt something lift, like all the darkness in me had scattered. She loved the sea, so I would follow the tide, forever. Chapter 13. The next day, the television at the Lin family estate played the same news on repeat. Heir to the Lin family, Elias Lin, fell overboard last night on the Victoria cruise ship. His body has not been recovered.